Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight I got Trina on, and we're going to be talking about that third and fourth river of the tree of life and all of that good stuff. Trina, bring us up to speed.
All right, we were talking about the Mystic Bible, and we were going to go through the different parts of it. And what we had discussed already was the garden. What is the garden? And then we went into the 3 types of trees, and we went through all those. And now we're into the 4 rivers. And then the 4 rivers, let me see if I can see here. So the 4 rivers out of the 1 river, and their meaning as energy currents and fields of action in the physical body that are the sphere of energy above the head. So this is what we were discussing was the rivers, and we were on to the 3rd river, and we already went through prana and the effects of the cerebral spinal fluid, and then we went into the breath. The life is in the breath. So we were moving air and breath, and then the spiritual part, which is the energy, the spirit and the soul connection through the brain, through the tree of life, coming into the body through the spine and the cerebral spinal fluid. So the 3rd river out of Eden's 1 river is called Hiddekel, Tigris, or black. This is the earth element of the ancients, which build and operate the 3rd cavity, which we know as the abdomen, with its digestive, assimilative, and eliminative activities. The Hindus call this energy Saman. We call it the gastrointestinal tract, and its function of digestion, assimilation, and elimination. The 4th river is also known as the Euphrates. Where do we have the fallen angels bound? In the Euphrates. So the great river, or the water wheel, the ancients called this the water element. It is situated in the 4th cavity of the body in the pelvic cavity. As earth and water landmarks are irregular, so is their space, with the earth element above it. Yeah, with the earth element above it. Science calls this the genitourinary system, including the kidneys, which are post-peritoneal structures. The earth is said to have been created out of the waters, and it is surrounded by it. Like the embryo is surrounded and it floats in the amniotic fluid. The great wheel refers to the constant births in the river of life. It is also referred to as the Wheel of 84 because it contains 8,400,000 species of life through which the soul can incarnate. Wow. Did you hear that? This wheel contains 8,400,000 species of life through which a soul can incarnate. It contains the seed of power, which is the one evidence of the eternal power of perpetuation in all of life, whether human, animal, or vegetable. The billionth descendant of any life form or pattern has the power to create the same as the original pair had. This is the only perpetual motion power we know of, namely the seed of power in all created things, sustained by the psychic prana as the energy immediately above the physical plane. Wow. So this is our seed power. Wow, the wheel in the Euphrates, the wheel of the rivers, that water moving and rotating and flowing is what's moving all of life through all of its different cycles, through birth, through death, through elimination, digestion, breathing, respiration, intuition, spiritual awakening, sexual reproduction. All of this is connected energy going through the rivers of the waters. So, okay. The 4 rivers are the same as the 4 elements of the solids. liquids, gases, and energy fields of the ancients of the four systems of the body. As long as these four elements or energies flow into and through each other and support each other in function, all is well. When one or more river of energy is stopped up or it cannot flow, life departs from it and it goes back from whence it came. It is then that the good minister at the funeral service revives our memory of this mystic lure not now understood. When he picks up a handful of earth and says, as he throws it onto the casket, earth to earth, dust to dust, and ashes to ashes. A doctor wrote out a death certificate which was probably stated heart failure or endocarditis. But the minister here tells us the true story as to why this person died from a very real scientific energy standpoint. The earth element in the body could no longer function or draw energy from the great earth element outside, which is the cosmos. And it could not cooperate with the other elements. So now this earth element of the individual body goes back into the earth element known as Mother Earth. And this is Genesis 3:18 and 19. And thou shalt eat the herb of the field, in the sweat of thy face shall thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. So that was Genesis 3:18 and 19. Dust to dust. The element of air has dust as its negative symbol. And when the air principle can no longer breathe or flow in a rhythm with the universal air principle outside, the individual air or life or breath or prana, the life in the body returns to its universal reservoir. Ashes to ashes. The person died because the fire principle of his energy could not flow in his body and be renewed by the universal fire of energy and life. That is why it must return to its source in the essence of the evidence of fire is the ashes. In the Quran, it is stated that when the forms were built, God played beautiful music upon them, and the souls entered into these forms. It is important to know and understand this process of the involution of the soul into matter, because this beautiful music is the sound current of the world, or the holy Shabad, sorry if I mispronounced it. All these finer principles or vehicles and lifelines of energy direction are still all within us, although buried and covered with mud and rust, the results of our own thoughts, words, and deeds. That is the reason we have so much conflict within ourselves and are constantly searching for our lost estate, a lost cord, or a link to life itself. By seeking out higher essences and trying to discover ourselves. Every principle or energy field within us, within our little world, has a universal plane of being or a field of operation. That's why I see the dimensions and the different densities as consciousness, and consciousness shifts as you move through these densities. Okay. So every universal plane of being or field of is a field of operation. And as of our four elements must blend with that greater world outside and draw from its universal supply in order to be well nourished and healthy. Even so, all the higher energy principles must be supplied from their own plane. The soul itself must constantly be supplied by the second current, the beautiful music, the Shabad, or the word issuing forth from the Supreme Father who created it. No part is complete in itself except it abide in the whole, and it is united with it. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth no fruit, not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he cleanseth it, and it may bear more. Already ye are clean because of the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, as I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, so neither can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, is the same and beareth much fruit. For apart from me ye can do nothing. If a man abideth not in me, and he cast forth as a branch, and it is withered, and they gather them and cast them into the fire, and then they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatsoever ye will, and it shall be done unto you. John 5:1-7. Oh, sorry, John 15:1-7. So we're about to the end of this, guys. So why should man be so proud when everything is but a gift and a loan for him from a gracious, loving Father, source, God of all things and all essence? Communication, contemplation, meditation, or concentration. Communication, contemplation, meditation, or concentration by the individual soul within man, within its universal source, is man's real function and path of travel and well-being. This can be a communication or a communion of soul with its own source during this very lifetime, as love with the ocean of love and bliss, or intelligence with the universal intelligence and patterned world of things, creativeness and inventions. The individual mind also communicates with the universal mind in constant activity, motion, illusion, theories, thoughts, and wishings. This gives us the psychology of man in its true scope and path of travel. Like any one of the four elements, when one stops flowing, having lost its rhythm or its tuning with the whole and its source supply, it then has a tendency to lock itself in, and it turns upon itself, and it disintegrates. There is pain and there is sorrow, but if balance can be restored, there is well-being and a free flow of energy. The universal energy is like air. It is all around us, and we can benefit thereby if we do not choke ourselves up with too much at once or try to retain too much material at one time. In fact, imagine you are like a bubble in an infinite ocean of tiny bubbles. You live, you move, and you have being in source of all at all times. It is merely a matter of what you are seeking and at what level you will tune into. This is what actually takes place and needs no other psychology, for it is the breath and the movement of soul itself. All dramas are based upon the story of the tragedy of the soul being bound by matter, as with chains, Prometheus bound. Is one of these dramas telling much of the Greeks' understanding of psychology? Every life is but a relationship of the unit into its source, and the only possible path of travel is the flow between the two, the microcosm man and the macrocosm the universe, in all of its various degrees of fineness and density, of different energies, levels, layers of matter, as crystallized as fixed or static fields, the outer relationship is the form relationship of the unit to the storehouse or the whole in which it lives. The true inner relationship is of the soul or the spark of the eternal essence to its divine source, the Creator Himself, and His breath of eternal life, which is the holy Shabbat, which many call and Sof. There's so many names for Creator, so just choose the one that works for you. But it ultimately is the truth that was before creation, and the love and the wisdom which enfolds all in a perfect state of eternal bliss. A centrifugal force out from the center of the all-being essence causes creation, as a myriad of sparks from a central fire, and the return, the flow of this energy as a centrifugal attractive force. It links back and it makes it. It seeks its source in an effort to become unified again to whence it came. It is rhythm, it is essence, and it is bliss. That explains the hunger of the soul and the constant will and the desire within the soul as unrealized longings and yearnings. The whole mystery of destiny and predestination lies here. The soul, in turn, steps down its energy. It is then influenced by the mind and expresses itself through the senses. These then relate to the mind as units to the whole, as a positive pole above as the source, and the negative pole below or units below seeking to experience in a multiplicity and an outward expenditure of energy. The mind is known as the negative pole of your soul. For expression in the denser states of matter, all things are suspended from a universal source, a center, and they travel out in that orbit, just like the planets around your sun, the electrons around the neutrons, etc. It is all one grand story and an endless variety of spinning energies and finer particles, clear all the way up to essence from where it was birthed. So the purpose of the heart is to know yourself and to be yourself and to know that you are one with God. And that's the end.
Wow. That is really good. See, that makes so much sense. There's no,
Yeah.
and that's what I like, is the fact that maybe I was a little tainted by religion and stuff, but the point of it is that, to be yourself. You don't need to,
Yeah.
go ahead and worship something in order to have this bliss, to know yourself, experience life, do the right things, stay in a good frequency. Things like that will get you a lot farther than, you know, praise, pledging your life and your soul to something you don't know, and hoping that thing or that essence is going to do something for you, and you're going to just sit around and wait for it. You need to do it yourself, because you are that essence.
Yes.
You know, yeah, all of that,
Yes. Yes.
you know, I guess.
We are light. We are light, and we have manifested through a denser light to come into matter. So the
That's right.
beautiful part of it is yeah, we are light, and each of us contains a spark of God, and that
Mhm.
spark is what has given us the ability to experience a microcosm within the macrocosm of creation, and that's why we have separate little bubbles of
Mhm.
reality we're existing in. I love that. Tiny bubbles. a little
Tiny bubble.
bubble in an ocean of oneness, but we're put into a bubble so we could perceive a separate experience instead of being that which we come from, which is all of it. And there's no identifying anything in the oneness. You're just all of it. So I think it's a beautiful experience to become one of those tiny bubbles and come and experience in the different layers of simulations and realities of creation
Hmm.
and how to get
Yeah,
back home when you're done.
that's right. Every experience is an important experience. It
Yes.
doesn't matter how great, because there's people out there go, wow, well, maybe I should have had a better. Why ain't I rich and why ain't I famous? I mean, I've heard that before. Look at me. And they mope in their own sorrow and over. No, this is an experience. Make the best of it.
You know,
You
it's
will.
so funny. When you said that, Robert, I just
Mm,
saw Smelling the Roses. And
yeah.
yeah, it's like stuff is stuff. The real magic is in life and the living and the flower, the smell of the flowers, the beautiful feeling that we get when one of our friends plays a musical instrument and we sing together and bang drums together. Those are
Yeah.
the most valuable moments of life. When we leave this existence, it's going to be, how did you make them feel? How did you
Mm,
affect the world? Did you
yeah.
make them smile or did you make them cry? How did you affect the world with all the choices and all the things? What did you choose to do with your life and your
Yeah.
experience? And will
Yeah.
you be proud to take that back with you? So do the best you can and know all of it's allowed. That's what we
Yeah.
do. We come here to experience not just the good, but bad too. So that's part of polarity. So
Yeah. But
when you're ready,
that
balance it.
that's the thing. What is a bad experience or what is a good? People.
It's what you
They put
perceive.
it. That's right. They put it in a box, and I know I've had
Yeah.
good experience and bad experiences, but some of the best experiences I had is when I was doing the worst. you
Yes.
know.
Well, they say usually your biggest growth comes from your greatest times of struggle because it forces you outside of the box.
That's
That's what
right.
it is.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Well, I hope everybody got something out of this because I sure did. Trina, thank you so much for bringing this all to us. And I know I sure learned something. And remember, everybody, you got to go out and experience life, good or bad. Look back at it and say, wow, all of us recall things of our childhood or our younger days or 20s or 30s, whatever it might be. Not saying everybody out here is old, but I'm just saying is that when you look back at that, you think, wow, I really had some good times. And
Yeah.
yeah, sure, I might have done this and that was really scary, but I look back at it now and yeah, it might have been scary, but it doesn't seem that way anymore. And I'm glad I did what I did. I don't regret any of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's doing their own journey. And that's
Yeah,
the great thing. There's no right or wrong. I mean, if you harm other people and eat babies and stuff, yeah, there's going to be issues with that because you're not going to go up. You're going to go into the gut. You're going to go into the belly. You're going to go through digestion and elimination. And it's going to turn into the flower fertilizer for the new flowers that we smell. And then after that, then you'll recycle up but you'll be clean. It's kind of do over. So yeah, what you think about, what you create here and what you do will eventually bring you into the right level of consciousness in your body, which is an imitation of the body of creation. As above, so below, micro, macro. We're little pieces of the same stuff. So your body is a reflection of part of God. So just know that. And where you resonate or vibrate, where your frequency is where you're going to go in that body system. So I would suggest you try to get to the higher realms, and anything above the diaphragm, which would be heart, throat, third eye, crown. All those are going to be the heavenly realms. Anything below that, you're going to be in the lower dimension astrals and the lower realms. So know the body, you get to know God.
And I think you said it, all those little pieces. Remember, everybody,
Yeah.
you want to get to where you got to go? Be the frequency you want to receive. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for Trina and for
Thank
being
you.
here. And we will do this again sometime soon. So, everybody, join us then. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.